Hello, my friends. Welcome back. It is time for another episode of Pints with Poke. I'm the drunk pokeroo, and you're not. It's near beer time. Another pickup from our designated drinks order from the other week is Henderson Brewing out of Tirana. Also hooked up with Bench somehow, I think. I don't know. Pearson Express non-alcoholic IPA, Toronto-style IPA, whatever the hell that is. It's a take, I'm guessing, on their flagship IPA, Pearson Express. Sure. You know, I have been to Henderson a few times. I dig them. Flaked oats. So, hoping for a smoother body, guessing hazy IPA. I've got my Henderson glass out. It's one thing with all the non-alcs, I don't have a lot of glasses. And we've gotten rid of some of the glasses because I would love to do such a purge in this house and get rid of stuff if I could. I think we have too much stuff. I think I'm holding on to too many things. As I look behind me with all the beer bottles, I'm not talking about those, but there's a lot of crap that we have. It smells fairly clean. Let's get into it. Cheers. Okay. That's decent. That's decent. I don't understand the process. I've been reading up a little bit on brewing these beers and de-alcoholized beers and whatnots and brewing low alcohol beers. And sometimes there's a lot of residual sugars left over. So you can get sweetness, and I found that with a few that we've had this week, that there is this kind of sweetness. This does have that as well. Definitely getting some peach, bit of mango, some pithiness, some citrus pithiness. It's got a nice, pretty smooth body, and I think the oats help with that. I don't know if I call it a hazy IPA, but again, haze is a descriptor of appearance, not a descriptor of flavor. It's like when they advertise Coors Light and they say it's cold, and I'm like, you didn't do that to the beer. I did that to the beer. You shouldn't be selling me on what I'm doing to the beer. Sell me on what you did to the beer, but I digress. It's pretty refreshing. For the most part, I would say it's inoffensive. It is a nice, light IPA, if that's what you're looking for. These ones we've seen where we go from, like, this week so far, we've had some, pretty decent West Coast leaning IPAs to, like, just a mess of weird flavors and off flavors. And then you get something like this, which is, I don't want to call it boring. I just want to say it is an okay non-alcoholic IPA. It kind of falls in that middle category. Like if somebody offered it to you, you'd be like, oh, thanks, man. Like you'd have beer then, right? But would you seek it out again? I don't think it falls in that category for me that I would seek it out again. I've had it once. I'm like, okay, I've had it once. It's an option if you're out at a place and you want a non-alcoholic and it's in the fridge. You're like, it's not a terrible option to have. You can have a couple of them and you'll be like, you won't hate yourself in the morning. A lot of times you drink a lot, you hate yourself in the morning. And years later, it just pops up in your head, and you're like, oh, I hate it. Remember when we did that dumbass thing when we were drunk? I haven't been drunk in 120 days, 130 days, whatever it is, somewhere north of 120 days at this point. That's a very weird place for me to be. Like, I haven't altered my consciousness in 4 months, and strange. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. So sometimes I get a little bit weird on these stuff, but this is okay. I don't mind this. A little bit of bitterness, but I think it's meant to be like a refreshing kind of almost like a pale ale, right? And that's okay too, because at this point the designations between pale ale and IPA, when you're talking these kind of non-alcs, it's meaningless, right? IPA sells better, so just call them all IPAs, because in the real world, an IPA to me needs to be over 6% at the very least. At the very least, probably over 6.5. Anything under 6% is definitely a pale ale to me. Personal opinion. I don't care what the BJCP or whatever the hell crap that is. They can make up all the rules they want. I'm just telling you how I feel. When it comes to non-alcs, you got to kind of suspend that belief because they're non-alcoholic beers. So I'm looking more for flavor profile, right? So to me, this is more of a pale ale than an IPA, but regardless, anyways. You can find it probably a ton of places. Henderson seems to be everywhere. So pick it up if you want to give her a try there, my friends. Cheers. There is an interesting discussion to be had around that. Like, what can you call these things? Right? They're not traditional IPAs, but they are, in a way, I guess. I don't know. It's a complicated situation.